In today's show, Bitcoin stays higher after the stocks propelled the Bitcoin price towards 42 G's, baby. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest astrology for men, aka technical analysis, as credible crypto shares here. Characteristics of a 1-2-1-2 or start of a new impulse is strong moves up, shallow pullbacks, continuation. The first chart is from 11 to 12,000 before our breakout and run to 60,000. The second chart is now, and what I expect to play out to further confirm our major fifth has started, and as pointed out here, crypto Twitter cheering about a break of 40,000, but orders of size $100,000 plus are still selling this rip. And as on-chain analyst Willy Woo shares here, probably worth mentioning, price is at historic levels of oversold to on-chain demand/supply, and the futures traders have halted their sell down. And as Root shares here, talking about scarcity, illiquid supply is growing near twice as fast as the new supply. This is why we made $69,000 all-time high in bear market conditions. Coming up, the 2024 halving, matched with an ever-growing HODL army. I think no one is ready for what's to come. Let's go. And here are the 4 finalists for the Bitcoin 2022 conference, Miami free ticket giveaways. And guess what? You get to choose the 2 winners, so be sure to cast your vote. Now, Dave Portnoy was recently interviewed on Fox News and said anyone who doesn't own any Bitcoin is an idiot. So the host Stewart says, "You think I'm an idiot if I don't have any Bitcoin?" And Portnoy said, "Oh yeah, it was classic." Also breaking news, the chair of Russia Congress Trade Committee says Bitcoin's progress should not be stopped. Also more breaking news, Texas Senator Ted Cruz purchases up to $50,000 worth of Bitcoin. That's right, he puts his money literally where his mouth is. Also in today's show, MicroStrategy could lend out its massive Bitcoin stash for yield, says CEO Michael Saylor, but there is a catch. That's right, quoting him right here, Bitcoin would be the asset that is not pledged as collateral that we could potentially consider using either to generate yield or to leverage. What a genius idea, borrowing against his own Bitcoin to acquire more BTC. Now, Samson Mow of Blockstream predicts a $100,000 Bitcoin price by June. So in today's show, we'll be discussing what could realistically push the Bitcoin price above that critical 6-figure threshold. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ether, and all the major alts are currently pumping and in the forest green. But where's the Bitcoin price likely to go next? Find out all this, plus so much more in today's show. Today's episode is brought to you by the FTX app, formerly known as Blockfolio. I've been using this app literally every single day for the past few years. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is check my crypto portfolio. I personally love it because it's the easiest and fastest way to buy Bitcoin, Ether, and other top cryptocurrencies with 0 fees, truly making this a no-brainer. And they're trusted by over 6 million people worldwide and over 200 plus countries around the world. And they have a special promo they're running right now where you can earn free crypto in every trade over $10. Here's how it works when you use my referral link in the description right down below. Every trade over $10 earns you a chance to get a random free coin, and the more you trade, the more you earn. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and use my referral link in the description right down below and download the FTX app today. Make some trades, claim your free crypto, and let's start stacking those sats. Shall we? All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. How's it going, crypto fam? Now, the finalists are announced here on Crypto Twitter from the Bitcoin 2022 conference, Miami free ticket giveaway. I couldn't choose because there were so many great responses, is just the honest truth. So it's in your hands to choose the 2 winners. So here are the 4 finalists. We got Brit Fit Dance, L. Brandon Martin, Lou Mass, and April Yeagle. And let me go ahead and read you their responses. Brit Fit Dance wrote, "I would love to go to the Bitcoin conference in 2022 because I really want to meet Michael Saylor and Bitcoin contributors. I would like to go to the Bitcoin conference with Craig Shipp and Tech Balt. They are forever Bitcoin hodlers." And Lou Mass wrote, "Reasons I want to go to the Bitcoin 2022 conference. Number 1, weather in Miami is April. Yes. Number 2, listen to speakers like Saylor, Bukele, Mullers, and much more. Yes. Number 3, meet JV, get his autograph, get a photo with JV. Boom, I'm all in. Let's freaking go." And L. Brandon Martin wrote, "I would love a free ticket to attend and help document the most revolutionary event of the year. It would help me keep making cool art, memes, and videos to keep helping spreading the word of Satoshi." And April Yeagle wrote, "Would love the chance to take in the sun and Bitcoin. I would even go alone just to hear innovators talk about Bitcoin and the amazing things to come. Going all in with a crypto IRA with I Trust Capital for the hubs. Would love to open my mom's eyes up to Bitcoin too." So there you have it. All amazing responses, making it extremely difficult for me to pick the winner. So the ball is officially in your court. This poll is over in less than 24 hours. So be sure to cast your vote. I'll include the link below this video in the description. And thanks to everyone for for participating. But all right, now let's break down our first story of the day. Bitcoin held above $41,000 into the weekend after a late surge on Friday took Bitcoin to 2-week highs. And right here, looking at the Bitcoin one-day candle chart. Now, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin maintaining newly re-won ground on Saturday, with the pair's correlation to the stock markets firmly in focus. Now, analysts had highlighted that 39,600 area as a key line to cross and flip to new support in order to secure further upside. In the event, this was no issue for the bulls as Bitcoin gapped up in seconds as it neared $40,000 to continue higher. And amid the newfound strength, the mood was conspicuously more buoyant than in the recent days or even weeks. Popular analyst Credible Crypto compared the current action to Q4 of 2020, in which Bitcoin challenged $12,000 prior to breaking 3-year all-time highs. As he shares here on Twitter, characteristics of a 1-2-1-2 or start of a new impulse is strong moves up, shallow pullbacks, continuation. The first chart is from 11 to 12,000 before our breakout and run to 60K. The second chart is now and what I expect to play out to further confirm our major fifth has started. And as trader Pentoshi shares here, the only good bear is a dead bear. And material scientist shares crypto Twitter cheering about a break of 40,000, but orders of size $100,000 plus are still selling this rip. Now, signs had already been circulating that an uptick was due, thanks mainly to the time-tested relative strength index known as the RSI, breaking a 2-month downtrend in late January. As Willy Woo shares here, probably worth mentioning, the price is at historic levels of oversold to on-chain demand/supply, and the futures traders have halted their sell down. And he's referring to this short history of RSI trendline breakouts, which you can see right here in this chart. And turning to sentiment, the sense of caution characterizing the market since November's $69,000 all-time high peak has remained. According to the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, fear was still the overriding emotion among market participants even after the price jump. The index, which uses a basket of factors to produce a nominal sentiment score from 0 to 100, measured 33 at the time of this recording, having spent most of January below a 25, which is the extreme fear zone, which is a great buying opportunity. BTFD, buy that freaking dip. Nonetheless, the last time that the index was so high was almost 6 weeks ago, just after Christmas, so do keep that in mind. And as Root shares here, talking about scarcity, a liquid supply is growing near twice as fast as the new supply. This is why we made the $69,000 all-time high in bear market conditions. Coming up, the 2024 halving, matched with an ever-growing HODL army. I think no one is ready for what's to come. Let's freaking go. And breaking news just in, the chair of Russia's Congress Trade Committee says Bitcoin's progress should not be stopped. And speaking of Russia, Max Kaiser made the following prediction. Russia is getting ready to make Bitcoin legal tender in retaliation for the US/NATO buildup of military forces in the Ukraine. Oil expected to top $120. Now, could you imagine Russia adopting Bitcoin as legal tender? Talk about Bitcoin game theory in full effect. And before I break down next story of the day, Texas Senator Ted Cruz has bought up to $50,000 worth of Bitcoin, as well as MicroStrategy can lend out its massive Bitcoin stash for yield, says CEO Michael Saylor. But there is a catch, as well as Samson Mow predicts $100,000 Bitcoin price by June, and I share what could realistically push the Bitcoin price above that 6-figure threshold this year. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ether, and all the major alts are currently pumping, and in the green, you gotta love it, with Bitcoin up almost 9% for the day, trading at about $41,400, with Ether up 6%, trading back above $3,000. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Rafael Ted Cruz, the junior Republican senator from Texas, is putting his money where his mouth is. According to a financial disclosure filed on Friday, 4th February, Cruz bought between $15,000 and $50,000 worth of Bitcoin on January 25th using the River brokerage. At the time, Bitcoin was trading between $36,000 and $37,000. So yeah, he bought the dip, and over the subsequent days, it has risen to the current price of around $41,600. And as you can see right here, this has come from the United States Senate financial disclosures. Now, following the example of fellow Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming, Cruz spent much of the latter half of the crypto bull run aligning himself with the blockchain and crypto industry, as his state benefited from an influx of Bitcoin mining companies, and interest in the subject became more widespread. So shout out to Ted Cruz and Cynthia Lummis. Now, he has also advocated for the acceptance of crypto payments at gift shops and vending machines in the U.S. Capitol complex, and opposed a provision in the recent infrastructure bill that critics said would extend the definition of a broker to miners and potentially even validators and coders. Now, during the current cold spell engulfing the state of Texas, some crypto miners slowed or ceased operations to help protect the state's energy grid infrastructure, which failed during a prolonged freeze in 2021. 2021. Now, River Financial is licensed in a number of U.S. states, but does not note a Texas money transmitter's license on its website, and according to the Texas Department of Banking guidance on virtual currencies. However, no currency exchange license is required in Texas to conduct any type of transaction exchanging virtual with sovereign currencies. Now, a number of members of Congress, including Democrats Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts and Mary Newman of Illinois, and Republicans Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey and Barry Moore of Alabama, have all disclosed holdings in cryptocurrency or related stocks. Let's go. All I know is this: the more senators and congressmen and politicians to adopt Bitcoin, the better it is to let the mass adoption continue. I want to give a quick shout out to iTrust Capital, the world's largest crypto IRA platform with over $3.5 billion in transactions. If you're looking to trade crypto tax-free, look no further than iTrust. And yes, they are backed by the world's leading institutional cold storage provider, Coinbase Custody, with a $320 million insurance policy. So go ahead and use my referral link in the description right down below to take advantage of the #1 crypto IRA provider in America. And if you sign up today, you're going to receive a $100 funding reward as a free bonus. So go ahead and use my referral link in the description right down below, and let's start stacking those sats tax-free. And before I break down next story of the day, MicroStrategy can lend out its massive Bitcoin stash for yield, says CEO Michael Saylor, but there is a catch, as well as Samson Mow of Blockstream predicts a $100,000 Bitcoin price by June of this year, and we discuss what could realistically push Bitcoin above this six-figure threshold. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting just above $1.7 trillion with about $79 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. The current Bitcoin dominance is 42% even, with the Ether dominance at 17.8%. And checking out the top gainers within the top 100 cryptocurrencies, as you can see, massive gains all across the board. You gotta love it. We have Gala up 38.6%. The Sandbox up 19%, Mana up 15%, Theta Fuel up 22%, and Zcash up 15%. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, shout out to Saylor, says that the enterprise software firm is considering lending out its massive Bitcoin holdings to earn income. Now, in its 2021 fourth quarter earnings call, Saylor said that MicroStrategy currently has over 100,000 Bitcoin that could be deployed to generate yield for its Bitcoin-backed bonds, quoting him back then. So 110,000 Bitcoin would be the asset that is not pledged as collateral that we could potentially consider using either to generate yield or to leverage. And as of January 31st, MicroStrategy now holds 125,000 plus BTC, and Saylor says that the counterparty risk is currently high as the number of reputable financial institutions available to transact with is limited, quoting him here. I think that as enthusiasm to trade and hold and bank digital assets, and Bitcoin in particular, grows, there's going to be an increase in the number of creditworthy counterparties that we can do business with, and increasing the options that we have. I think out of all these options that we have, they all come with a risk. A counterparty risk that they come with is a theoretical opportunity cost, and then they also come with an execution cost and a whole set of compliance and other sorts of disclosure issues and strategy issues that we consider. And according to the MicroStrategy CEO, the involvement of blue chip financial institutions in the space would reduce the counterparty risks, as he shares here. In a world where, say, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch and Bank of America, Citigroup and JP Morgan are interested and involved in the space, then I think the options that will be available to us over time will be greater, and the counterparty risk that we would have to incur will be less. Now, Saylor notes that MicroStrategy is the largest publicly traded corporate holder of Bitcoin in the entire world, and that comes with responsibility. As he shares here, we believe we have a responsibility to share what we have learned since embarking on this strategy to make it easier for other companies to diversify their balance sheet with this new asset class. So there you have it. Personally, I feel this is a genius strategy to use their Bitcoin as leverage to borrow against it to purchase more Bitcoin. Take this as a lesson to never sell your BTC. If you ever need funds, borrow against it, and you may also have the ability to purchase more Bitcoin, especially with low interest rates like we're seeing currently in the market. And before I break down our final story of the day, Samson Mow predicts a $100,000 Bitcoin price by June, and we discuss what can realistically push the Bitcoin price above this six-figure threshold. But first, I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below this video in the description for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the crypto market. This goes for all 1,000 plus videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also, some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including my new crypto merch store, now live at merch.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a daily letter which goes out to over 30,000 subscribers every single day. To subscribe, visit letter.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a blog I update daily, which can be found at cryptonewsyes.com. Also be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. You can also find me on all the major podcasting platforms, from Spotify to Apple's iTunes. And if you're listening to the pod, be sure to check out the YouTube channel at cryptonewsalerts.net for the full premium experience with video. And of course, you can follow me on crypto Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, and TikTok. So wherever you're at, be sure to follow me there. But all right, now let's break down our final story of the day. And let's start with Samson Mow's prediction. He recently tweeted Bitcoin $100,000 by June, which is the first half of this year. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Samson Mow. Now, despite the recent downfall of the crypto market, the projection of a $100,000 Bitcoin price remains seen as a matter of time. Back in December, Bloomberg Intelligence indicated that the anticipated mark would eventually happen due to the economic basics of increasing demand versus decreasing supply, and new data shed some light on that idea. Check it. In a new Bloomberg Intelligence report, data shows trends that could favor Bitcoin and Ethereum prices. The report noted that representing advancing technology, Bitcoin is gaining traction as a benchmark global digital asset, while oil is being replaced by decarbonization and electrification. Now, lack of supply elasticity is an attribute shared by Bitcoin and Ethereum that sets them apart from commodities. For commodities, rising prices thwart demand and increase supply, but the top cryptos might tell a different story. Increasing Bitcoin and Ethereum demand and adoption versus diminishing supply should follow the basic rule of economics and raise prices. And in the following chart, Bloomberg shows a juxtaposition of the decreasing Bitcoin and ETH supply, along with the excess of crude oil and liquid-fueled production compared to the consumption, heading towards 13% in 2023, noting that the U.S. has been a top headwind for commodity prices, as you can see right here in this chart. Now, experts think that Bitcoin is well on its way to becoming a global digital collateral, while its revolution in the digitalization of finance is in its early days. Future mainstream adoption will lead to increased demand for the king of all crypto. Now, the report predicts that the future developments in the macroeconomics and politics of the U.S., dollar dominance, jobs, votes, taxes, and the aim to oppose China's policies and find leverage against them will lead the U.S. policymakers into creating proper regulations for cryptos and ETFs. And beyond El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, the proximity of the U.S. midterm elections has evidence that the American senators and politicians race to follow along. In Wyoming, Arizona, and Texas, the politicians are pushing to turn the digital coin into a legal tender, pointing to Bitcoin as a new defining factor to get well positioned in the polls. And a wider acceptance of Bitcoin is expected to happen with more regulatory clarity, because fear and misinformation could diminish. Thus, more investors would jump in, meaning mainstream adoption. The report also notes that this greater mainstream adoption of Bitcoin is looking unstoppable, which would likely benefit its price action. Quoting them here, the launch of the U.S. futures-based exchange-traded funds in 2021 appears as a baby step by regulators that we think culminates with ETFs tracking actual cryptos via broad indexes. Now, Bloomberg data shows that the rising demand, adoption, and depth of Bitcoin should leave few options for volatility, but to decline. And for this reason, they think going through a price discovery stage. The following chart shows the upward trajectory of Bitcoin futures open interest versus the downward slope in the crypto volatility versus the stock market, noting that Bitcoin's 260-day volatility is 3 times of the NASDAQ 100, which contrasts its volatility during the launch of futures in 2017, which was closer to 8x. Regarding the Federal Reserve's tightening measures, Bloomberg experts had previously predicted that Bitcoin will face initial headwinds if the stock market drops, but to the extent that declining equity prices pressure bond yields and incentivize more central bank liquidity, and crypto may come out of a primary beneficiary. So there you have it. When do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to exceed that 6-figure mark? Do you agree with Samson Mow that we can see that $100,000 Bitcoin price by June? Let me know in the comments right down below. And now for a quick recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. Bitcoin stays higher after stocks propel the Bitcoin price towards $42,000. We also discussed breaking news of Texas Senator Ted Cruz bought up to $50,000 worth of BTC, as well as MicroStrategy can lend out its massive Bitcoin stash for yield, says CEO Michael Saylor. And we also discussed Samson Mow's $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction by June. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below. Now for the top 3 comments from yesterday's episode, Peter Amster wrote, "This is one of the great strategic moves Russia should make to protect their assets." That's right, absolutely. Would be the biggest chess move we've seen in Bitcoin. Russia, let's go. And our next featured comment comes from Pokemon, who wrote, "Hi JV and Crypto News Alerts fam. If Max is right about Russia, then it will be game over for fiat. The world will adopt BTC as legal tender, and the price will moon and beyond. Take care, one and all. God bless you and yours. Cheers, fam. Preach. I'm with you 100%. HODL. And our third and final comment comes from Dr. Strange, who wrote, "My understanding from trusted sources is that Russia will be buying as much Bitcoin as possible as a preemptive move for wealth accumulation, particularly against the US. United States should get on board fast or get left behind, but I have no confidence in that." Well said, Doc. I think the United States will get left behind all by design, but let's see. USA, the ball is in your court. And to be featured on tomorrow's episode, drop me a comment right down below.